Hey, y'all, welcome back to the Late Night Vision Show. This is episode number 189. My name is Jason, owner of Outdoor Legacy. And as always, I've got my co-host, the top salesman at Outdoor Legacy, besides me, because he's the only other salesman. Hans, who is famous from his YouTube channel, the Hans ETX channel. Mr. Hans East Texas, what is going on tonight?
Are you trying to position yourself to give yourself a raise? Is that what you're trying to do?
I would like a raise. I would, but I'm too busy paying you. So,
yeah,
well, it's okay. My kids are going to Goodwill. They can pick out, one thing for Christmas, but it's okay.
Yeah, and my kids are over, building a house of cards. Instead of using cards, they're using $100 bills. So,
yeah, exactly.
Right?
I'm paying you too
right.
much.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly right. Well, hey. It is, man, I tell you what, I want to thank everybody. The views and listens, I was just hopping on YouTube right before we started taping this episode, and the last two episodes are best of series, which is always a big attraction for not just our loyal listeners and watchers, but for attracting new eyeballs. We've gotten a lot of views the last 2 weeks on those two shows and listens through all the streaming apps. So want to thank y'all for doing that. I also want to remind you before we jump right into the best of, and this will be our third installment of the best of series for this year, 2021. We do have quick show links. So if you want to jump forward to the different segments of the show, ones that are more specific to what you're interested in. I know coyote hunters probably don't want to sit around and talk about or hear about the best hog hunting thermal scopes under $5,000, which we're talking about tonight. There are links in the description of this video where you can skip forward, and get right to the stuff that's important to you. So check those out. First of all, watch the whole show.
If you do that, you're gonna miss some very important context. But if you are just here for the real quick down and dirty answer, go straight to it. But just know you're going to miss some stuff.
And some comedy, of course.
Well, I don't know, or something.
You check out the quick links, watch the whole show, then go back to the quick links. You can even forward or share those quick links to your buddies. Say, hey, check out this segment on best hog hunting thermal scope under $5,000. It's something you need to hear. So we appreciate that. And I'm going to tell you, it's something that it takes a lot of time to do, but we know it's important, especially for these shows, because there's so much information. There's so much time. I mean, the last show was an hour long, which is usually a little bit longer than what we normally do. But Jason and I get started in these shows, and we look up and we're like, gosh, we got to wrap it up. It's 50 minutes, but both of us are talkers, and but we really appreciate it. Thank you all so much. Hey, also one more thing. Go check out the website, outdoorlegacygear.com. If you are interested in purchasing any night vision or thermal optic, many of you do, and I get phone calls all the time. Hey, I'm taking you up on your offer to give you a call. So you can call and talk to me, either me or Jason, 877-350-1818, outdoorlegacygear.com. You can check out all the scopes that we're going to be talking about tonight.
That sounds good. So Hans has already, told you what the title of the show is. Again, it's the best thermal rifle scopes under $5,000. And last week we did the best thermal rifle scopes under $4,000. So in reality, this is the $4,000 to $5,000 price range. And we like to get them all the way right up to the top. So some of these scopes will come in about 3 pennies less than $5,000, and maybe not a whole lot over the $4,000. But we're going to give all the rifle scopes in here. We give the caveat that these are current scopes on the market for December, fall, of 2021. You may be listening to this down the road in 6 months or a year, and these scopes, some of these may not even still be around. This is a fast-moving industry. Things do change. If there's scopes on here and you go, well, what about the such and such? It may not be on the market anymore. It could have been discontinued. I talked to a guy today who was just shocked that this scope he had seen of his buddies that, he just couldn't believe he wanted to buy one. And I said, man, it was discontinued over 2 years ago. He just couldn't believe it. So time flies, things change. If it's not listed in this group, and it is a current scope on the market, then we just don't think that it is one of the best. So this is what we believe are the best. These are our opinions, but these are all top quality, very popular scopes. And I am excited to get into this list because it's a tough category. Hans and I were kind of going over before the show. We don't like to give away to each other exactly what we're going to choose everywhere. And we had we do this every week, but we had kind of a mini little debate of when, this scope is really good at this. Yeah, but, and I was like, man, and at one point I said, you're actually starting to convince me of
your answer.
Of your screwed up logic. So no.
Right.
No.
Right.
So anyway. Yeah.
Well, so we're going to get right into the list. Again, best thermal scopes under $5,000. So Jason, we're going to go through the format real quick, but Jason's going to run down the list. As I look at it right now, we got 5 contenders for the best scope under thermal scope under $5,000. Then we're going to do our best of awards. So we do the best bang for the buck, obviously of each one of these scopes, best for hog hunters, best for coyote hunters, and then our overall pick. So we will crown an overall winner for this category as we do every week. But this is fun. I do like the new format, especially since we have so many different types of scopes this year compared to last, and so much more competition, so many more contenders. It does give us an opportunity to kind of, give an attaboy to some of those companies and some of those scopes that do well and are for specific hunters, but not necessarily the overall winners. Those are the crown kings. But all right, let's run down the list and let's get on to handing out some hardware.
Okay, so here we go. First on the list, and we're starting by price, lowest to highest. So first on this list is the Pulsar Trail 2 XQ50 laser rangefinder at 3.5 power base magnification, and it is $42.99, and it is a 384 by 288 resolution scope. I'm just going to leave this here. I'm going to come back in a minute after we go through the list, and we're going to kind of hash out our thoughts a little bit on each of these scopes. So I just want to mention, though, it is a 384 by 288 standard resolution. Mm-hmm. This is the only scope in this lineup that is 384 resolution. Everything else is going to be 640. So next on the list is the AGM Rattler TS50 640. It is, and just to be clear, the 640 is part of their name. They include that in the name there. So it's the AGM Rattler TS50 640. It's a 2.5 power base mag, and it is $44.95. Next, we've got the Bearing Optics Super Yoder. That is a 3 power base mag, $45.95. I had to look at that there. $45.95. So $100 more there than the Rattler. Next, we've got the Pulsar Thermion 2. That means it's the second edition. Thermion 2 XP50. This is a 2 power base mag, and it is $49.99. And then we've got the Pulsar Thermion XG50. It is a 3 power base magnification, and to the surprise of many people who are familiar with this scope, it is now $49.99. This scope was up until just a few weeks ago $59.99. This is one of the rare price drops that we see, and it's a big price drop. But we're going to get into some of that here in just a little bit. But I did want to mention, a lot of people don't realize that price did drop on it. It's very recent here, November, December of 2021 on that drop. And I'll just real quickly, it'd probably be the last time we really mention much about that drop. But Pulsar said that they've got some lower production cost that they're going to have on this unit going into 2022. And if they can lower their cost, they want to pass that on to the consumer. And hey, it's a great deal. So anyway, that is that. Now, Hans, let's go back over and let's kind of talk about each of these units.
What inflation are we talking about, y'all? I mean, we just lowered the,
there's
deflation. No inflation. Yeah, there's no inflation. We just lowered the price by $1,000. That's right. Prices have gone down. You know what, man? What is kind of, we'll go back over these. I'm just kind of threw myself a curveball. I'm going to throw you a curveball when you start announcing
great.
winners, because when you read through the list, I'm like, oh man, I don't know. I'm changing stuff on the fly, just so you know, as
Oh,
far as my
man.
winners. And this is if this were the Oscar awards, they'd probably say that this is all rigged, because I'm changing
Right.
my answers at the last minute. But anyway,
Right.
it's like when they carry the envelope out and the ink is still wet, because that's how fresh the decision is. The ink is wet on this envelope for me. So let's briefly touch on these. The Pulsar Trail 2 XQ50 LRF. I mean, it's the only scope on this list that has a laser rangefinder. If you are a coyote hunter, you probably have seen this scope. You might own this scope. You have definitely looked at this scope, probably, if you are a coyote hunter. So the fact that it's got a laser rangefinder, 3.5 power, base magnification, perfect for people out there that are, I would say, primarily just coyote hunting, but I would say all the Midwest states, North Dakota, South Dakota, all up in that area. I tell you, more of those are sold up there than probably any part of the country. But very, very popular scope for coyote hunters. The Rattler TS50 640, one of the newest scopes on the list. That and the Super Yoda. The Rattler TS50 640, 2.5 power. I mean, again, this is we talked about its little brother last week with the TS35 640. The fact that the prices, the competition is getting more fierce. Prices seem to be not necessarily just coming down in mass, but you've got some scopes that are in that $400 to $4,600 price range for 640 resolution optics that are good optics. This is another one of them, the Rattler 640. I really like it. 2.5 power. It comes with an American Defense Manufacturing lock-in quick release mount, records video. Some really nice features in there, along with very good picture image. The Super Yoder we reviewed recently. I've been testing it a bunch. Really like this optic. I love the fact that it's got a LaRue Tactical lock-in quick release mount. It's a big deal when you say, when you say that, or if you say, it comes with a 4-year warranty, or it's a 640 resolution 12 micron for under $4,600. People have been calling. I say the last few weeks since you and I did our review, Jason, the call volume on that scope has just gone up. It seems to be coming up in a large percentage of conversations now when people are calling about 640 scopes.
Right.
Thermion 2 XP50 LR, not the LR, the Thermion 2 XP50, 640 resolution, 2 power. If you go look in my safe right now, it is on a rifle. It's been on a rifle since day one. The Thermion, the original Thermion XP50 was on one of my rifles. One of the Trail XP50 was on one of my old rifles. I mean, you and I have had, I joke about this. It's true. You and I have had an XP50 of every model on our personal rifle since
not just had one. He didn't mean just like tested it. I mean, that was one of our absolute main rifle scopes. I mean, all the way through from the original Trail XP50 all the way to today. We
our
keep
personal rifle,
an XP50. Yeah, Thermion 2.
It's not on our rifle
for sure.
It's not on our test rifles. So our test rifles are what we're switching off to. That's on our main rifle. That's the one that when buddies come over and they want to see a nice rig, that's when we bring out. So again, a favorite around here, the Thermion 2 XP50, and then you got the Pulsar Thermion XG50. Jason mentioned the price drop. The scope dropped onto the market with a huge bang. I mean, you and I hunted with this. I hunted with the XG50 for about a year. The whole, since the day when it came out until we really started talking about the Thermion 2s. I mean, I was hunting with that thing. You and I have got a lot of experience behind it. And then there's been some question. When you talked about the price drop, a lot of people have been asking me, man, does that mean it's going to be discontinued? And like, no, it's just, this is the steps that they're taking. Like you said, they're lowering the price, and production costs are lower. But the concern does that mean it's going away? Because that sometimes seems to be the indicator of a scope to be discontinued. But anyway, a great
If
scope.
it is, we don't know about it.
We
How
don't know.
about that? Yeah.
We have not been given any indication that that's the case. Still, a lot of people ask about it. 3 power, 3 to 24 power. It is a very high end magnification. Again, comes with all the great Pulsar features, which Pulsar is good about putting on all their scopes. You know, they don't say, oh, if a scope's over 4,000, we're going to put all the color palettes. But if it's under 4,000, we're only going to give them half the color palettes or something. You know, they're good about spreading all those features to all the models, which is great. But that rounds it out, the description. And I know, like I said, there's some curveballs coming out.
I want to talk about a couple things on a couple of these scopes real quick. I mean, you went through them, which is great. And you know me, I've always got to throw in my 2 cents. I think that every year the Pulsar XQ50, I mean, this is the Trail 2 XQ50, and there was an original Trail. Every year, this scope, which is one of the most popular scopes out there with coyote hunters for good reason, it gets looked over, and we're going to probably do it again tonight part of the time, is you step on this scope in this category because we're comparing it to $5,000 640 scopes. And it's not. Mm-hmm. And what it really needs to be is it needs to be compared in last week's show with all those other scopes that were under $4,000 and 384 resolution. The thing is, compared to those scopes, it's a heck of a value because it's only $300 more, and it has a laser rangefinder included with it, which none of those scopes do. So it's not like, well, it's overpriced by $300. No, it's only $300 more than some of those scopes, and it's got a laser rangefinder. So it's really in the wrong class here, and it's just tough. I hate it because it's such a popular scope. If we look at its big brother, which is the Trail 2 XP50, which is a 2-power 640 scope with the laser rangefinder. It's $6,000. It's not in this group. So I don't know. I just feel like it's a little bit of no man's land, and it's not fair to this scope because it is a really, really good scope. But when you put a 384 scope in a lineup against some of the best 640s on the market, it's difficult. And so anyway, we'll get into some more of that here in a little bit. But I wanted to mention that. I also wanted to mention, I want to talk about this XG50 a little bit. This was a scope that I think this needs to be discussed. This thing hit the market September 1st of 2020, and it hit like a hurricane, not a tornado, a hurricane. This thing just went nuts. Everybody wanted it. Nobody could get it. We were selling them faster than we could get them. It was crazy. A bunch of these scopes. We gave this scope a lot of awards last year. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell you why. This just shows you how much has changed in 1 year. This scope was $6,000 when it first came out. I mean, again, right up until a few weeks ago. It was the only scope on the market under $7,500 that was 3-power and 640 12 micron. I mean, that doesn't seem like a big deal now because now you're looking at it and you're like, well, we've got the Super Yoder and we've got the Iray Rico MK1. And I mean, you got, well, and even the Rattler TS50 is 2.5 power. We didn't have a 640 scope over 2 power until, again, you got up into the $7,500 range.
And the first BAE thermal sensor scope with video and audio recording and rechargeable batteries.
Ever.
Also. Yeah.
Ever. This was a huge thing to hit the market. And it was well received. People loved them. We sold tons of them. And the people who understood what they were getting, I mean, we said from the very beginning, hey, this isn't a Trijicon replacement. This isn't a Envision replacement. This is a fantastic image quality scope with all the bells and the whistles. It's a 3-power 640. It was. I hate to just say, like, give so much credit. Oh, this just changed everything. It really did. It was a huge change for the industry. And I know now it gets looked over because we've got these other newer scopes that are 3-power out there that have fantastic image quality. This scope in just a year, really, I guess 15 months.
Yeah.
A lot of guys are quick to be like, "Oh, that's the old XG." That's how things change in this
and get
industry.
started, and how they change, get started, and progress. Because you think, what was the next step that Envision did after Pulsar did that? They came out with the Halo X's, which
Halo X's that all had video
recording,
and audio
recording, rechargeable batteries. I mean, the quality of the products, the feature-rich products that we're getting, all of that started with a scope, and and started with a certain scope, and they grew on top of that, and they were improved upon. They were, it spurred competition from other manufacturers that improved upon their optics to keep up. I mean, that is our industry right now to a T. Is, you see all these companies that are coming out with stuff, and I've we keep talking about it. 2022 is going to be a busy year for new releases. There is a bunch of new stuff coming because of all the improvements that were made during this year, all the popularity of the products. The companies are figuring out what the consumers want, and consumers want great picture quality, and they like features, and so that's what the companies are focused on, and it's good. So yeah, I mean, like you said, the XG50 was the start of something that has taken off, and it spurred a lot of other things. But you and I, like I said, I hunted with that scope for a solid year, and really had a lot of great success with it. Really good scope at the time.
I agree, and so I want to mention something here. And again, I don't want to get off on a side review comparison of two scopes, but I do want to bring it up here. Hans and I will be glad to talk to you more about this. If you have an interest in any of these scopes or anything else, always feel free to call us and we can help you with that. But the Thermion 2 XP50 and the XG50, I get this a lot, so I want to bring this up now since we are going to be talking about them. The Thermion 2 XP50 2-power leapfrogged the XG50 in image quality. It did. It got a little bit above it in image quality because it's a newer scope, newer sensor. Again, that's just the way things work. And so it's another reason it brings, the XG price coming down, makes more sense. So a lot of guys ask me, well, then obviously if you're telling me the XP has a little better image quality, then I ought to buy the XP. I'm like, hold on a minute. What are you doing? How are you using it? How are you using this scope? Because I would much rather have a 3-power scope with a touch less image quality than a 2-power scope if I'm going to be shooting out there at 150 yards all the time, 100, 150, 200, whatever it is. So again, if you're going, I don't know what he's talking about, what's it matter? Call us. We'll be glad to help you explain all that and make sure you get the right one for, your needs. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is I just think the XG, I have heard it taking a beating in some places recently that I think is very ill-informed. And I think it's guys who, haven't used these scopes in all the situations side by side, because it is a fantastic scope, and dropping the price by $1,000 is a really, really big deal. So anyway, let's jump in, Hans, and let's talk about our categories here. What we're going to do is we're going to each go through. We're going to choose our best bang for the buck. We're going to choose the best for hog hunters, best for coyote hunters, and then we're each going to get an overall pick of what we choose out of this category. So, Hans, best bang for the buck out of this list, what's it going to be?
Yeah, I'm going to say, I'm going to go with the scope that we've been testing. We did our review on, and I'm shortly to do my review on. That's the Bearing Optics Super Yoder. The reason why I think it's the best bang for the buck, it has the longest warranty of every scope on this list. So it's got a 4-year warranty, comes with a high-end LaRue Tactical lock-in quick release mount, records video, has a very good Wi-Fi app that goes with it that a lot of people have been using and really like. 640 resolution, 12 micron. It's got fantastic picture image. Picture-in-picture display. It's, a 3 power base magnification. I think you're getting a lot for $4,600. And I will say, the warranty is a big part of that. It's a 4-year warranty versus a 3-year warranty with some of the other scopes on those lists. 1 year longer warranty means a lot to a lot of people, and that's 1 year longer peace of mind. As it pertains to something going wrong with their scope. But either way, I say that scope, the Super Yoder, in my opinion, best bang for the buck.
Does this mean it's my turn? Am I supposed to pick
it's your
one?
turn.
I've literally been sitting down looking at this list. I have no idea what I'm fixing to pick, and I'm worried about this for the rest of the list down. We talked last week about how stacked the category was and how tough the competition was, but really I'm having a hard time now. So I agree with everything you said. The others, there's a lot of scopes. I think that I've got to give a little credit here to the AGM Rattler TS50. One reason is it's a 2.5 power scope. I really like that, especially for hog hunting. Which we both do a lot of. I do more hog hunting for sure than I do coyote hunting. I gotta lean a little bit hard on the 2.5 power because I do like the lower magnification. I think for $4,500, it's a really good value. I want to pick it. I also, and I'm really stalling here. This is what you call stalling. I don't know that I can pick it because it's a 384 scope in this lineup, but dadgummit, for $4,300, the XQ50, there's two big things about it. This Trail XQ50. It's a laser rangefinder, and it's got a 10+ hour removable rechargeable battery pack. I mean, that's a big thing when we're talking about, again, bang for the buck. So it's hard for me not to choose that. I don't like this. I don't know which, are you going to make me choose one? Do I have to choose one? Is that the rules?
Yeah, exactly. That is the rule.
Good, because if you let me off on this one, then I know I can get off on the next 2 or 3 categories. This is where it gets
skips.
I know. I think that bang for the buck. Man, I'm so close to picking this Trail, but it's hard for just to say because it's a 384 unit. I do think that the Yoder may be my choice.
Okay.
I mean, it just and I'm not going to
over dramatic reveal of a winner.
I'm not going to go over all the reasons why. You said it, but I could pick the Yoder, the Rattler, or the Trail 2, which is 3 of the 5. But I mean, I could choose any one of those and have no problem with it because they're for different situations a little bit. I mean, if you need a laser rangefinder, here's the deal. I'll say this right now, and then I'll be done. We can go to the next category. If you are going to be shooting 300 yards, 275, 3, maybe you're one of those guys that you got to shoot out there in that 350 range. My opinion is you need to buy that LRF. Because if you don't know how far they are, I don't care what scope you've got. No matter how good the image quality is or what the magnification is, if you can't tell what it is. So if you need to do that longer range shooting, even, I say 300, I mean, even 250, 275, I'd be buying a laser rangefinder. So anyway, I'm going to quit talking before I change my mind and
that was
say something different.
Very dramatic. Anticlimactic answer because we knew what you were going to choose. I mean,
you knew what I didn't know what I was going to choose, so you're better than me. All right, I'm going to take the next one here.
All right.
So, best for the hog hunters. I know what scope I'm going to choose. Best for the hog hunters, but I'm going to throw out a runner-up. So, my runner-up is going to be the Rattler again. I like the Rattler TS50 640. It's the 2.5 power. Again, it's the only other scope that's going to be lower magnification. I really like it. For some guys, depending on what they need and how they're going to hunt, I might recommend this scope. But for me, hog hunters, I'm choosing the Thermion 2 XP50. That is
Good choice.
That is my choice. It's a 2-power base mag, beautiful image quality. I personally believe the image quality probably beats anything on this list. If not, it's neck and neck. That is my scope. I love the Thermion 2 XP50. I have to pick it. That's it.
Yeah,
That's
I
for
agree.
hog hunters.
Real quick and easy, my pick, best hog hunting thermal scope, Thermion 2 XP50. I'll go a step further. It does have the best picture image on anything on this list. I've always been one to say things and regret it later, but I'm going to say it does have the best picture image. And, since Pulsar came out with the Thermion 2, which if you're wondering the difference between the Thermion and the Thermion 2, it's just an improved thermal sensor, minus 25 NETD sensor. So basically, the difference is a little bit better picture image, more detail in the background, overall better picture image between the two, the Thermion XP50 and the Thermion 2. So, Thermion 2, it's a 2 to 16 power picture-in-picture display. I love using that feature for hog hunting. You can take you got a group of hogs, take a real tight, close picture or shot with that picture, PIP up in the top, and then have your full field of view up. So when the group starts running, you can take great follow-up shots. Perfect for hog hunting down here, and my overall pick. Now,
okay, so
Coyote
I'm going to let you take the next one. Coyote hunters, what's it going to be?
This is where I've thrown a curveball. We had some discussion. I didn't tell you my answer, but I was leading you down a road only to change my mind. How do you pick a best thermal scope for coyote hunters in this category and not choose the only scope that has a laser rangefinder on it and has the highest base magnification? I'm going to say my pick is going to be the Trail 2 XQ50 LRF. Now, you might say, well, that's the only 384 resolution scope on this list. Yes, but hear me out, because this is where I'm going to make the case. For coyote hunters especially, and this is especially, for you guys where you're looking long ranges, guys that need laser rangefinders, they don't have a lot of reference points to be able to tell distance or, not in wide open stretches of field. In some cases, especially for coyote hunters, base magnification is more important than resolution. In some cases, not in all cases,
absolutely.
But base magnification, because as we all know, every time you double the magnification, you cut your resolution in half. So if you are at 384 resolution at 3.5 power, you bump it up one notch or up to their next level, which would be 7x, then you're at 192 resolution. If you do the math on some of these other scopes compared to the resolution ratio between magnification and resolution, you actually turn out to be a little bit better or more resolution as you start to use this magnification. So, that's why I say, for coyote hunters especially, base magnification can be more important than resolution. And in this case, with the battery life, a lot of times coyote hunters, mostly dedicated coyote hunters in the north, it gets colder. You got a 8 to 10 hour battery pack like you talked about. The laser rangefinder, recording with audio. That's the big curveball, and that's where I talked myself out at the last minute, because I had to tell you the truth, I had the Thermion XG50 at first picked out because it's a 3 to 24 power. But man, as we started talking about it, and I'm like, how do you not choose the only scope with a laser rangefinder on it as the best coyote hunting scope?
Okay. So I can't disagree. You're making me want to go back and change my pick for back there where you were. I was afraid you'd dog me for picking a 384 scope, but no. I agree. Now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to change it up a little bit, and I'm going to say, agree if you need the laser rangefinder and or battery life is the most important to you.
Right.
If you say, hey, guess what? I don't need the laser rangefinder. I can get by without it. And image quality is what I want. And I am a coyote hunter. Maybe it's cold. I can get by with an external battery pack. I can do something. And don't get me wrong. The Thermions have a decent battery, but in the really cold weather, you're going to want an external battery pack on these units. So here's what I'm going to choose. Again, making the assumption that you don't need the laser rangefinder, I'm going to go with the XG50. And the reason I choose this one specifically, it's 3 power, it's 640, and it looks like a daytime rifle scope. It's on a 30 millimeter tube, and if you're shooting a bolt gun, this is what you're going to want. You're going to want a something on this tube. You can use regular rings, and if regular rings, don't put the scope far enough back, which they probably will, you can always use a set of cantilevered rings to offset or cant the scope back. If you've got a Picatinny rail on the top of your bolt gun, but you still, I still choose the Thermion. Even if you've got that rail, then though you could use something like the American Defense, one piece quick detach mount that Hans and I use and sell and just absolutely love. You can use that, and again, you could cant or push the scope back towards the buttstock for better eye relief. I'm choosing the Thermion XG50. Now, I'm going to go ahead, and I kind of got into this a little bit. I know this question is going to get brought up, and there's going to be guys that go, but wait a minute, I would choose the XP50 because even you admitted it's got a little better image quality. It's only a 2-power base mag. And the guys that are really out there coyote hunting in most parts of the country, not the guys that are hunting in little bitty small fields in, maybe Pennsylvania or somewhere in these woodlots. I'm talking about guys that are Midwest, Northwest, even southern coyote hunters on big fields. You want the 3-power. It's worth more than a little better image quality on a 2-power scope. So that's why I'm choosing the XG50. I can't argue with your pick. I be honest, the Super Yoder really stands out there as a scope that I think we could mix in there, being the great image quality at 3-power. But I got to go with the XG because of its ease of use on a bolt action or fixed stock rifle.
Good choice. I agree with you.
Like
you said, that's the thing being said. Great, good picture image and high resolution doesn't do you any good if you're always having to bump up the magnification.
That's right.
It doesn't do you. It doesn't benefit for you. That's why we always talk about the importance of choosing the correct optic for what you're trying to do. Is matching that base magnification to your hunting application. So, all right. So we got one more category to go, and it is the best one of the night, the one that everybody's been waiting on. This is the one that goes home with the actual award. We make these awards. We give them to the manufacturers. Usually we didn't do it last year because there was no SHOT Show, but we give the award, the nice award that I'm pretty impressed with them. I know the manufacturers are too, but we give the award to the manufacturers in the booth at the SHOT Show. So that is the best overall thermal optic, and for this category, best under $5,000. Jason, I'll let you start it out.
Okay, so I don't know what we're going to choose here. I know what I'm going to choose. I don't know what Hans is going to choose. This year, we have opened up these categories to having 2 winners. Hans choose one, I choose one, because we've debated and argued and felt like we were a jury before. We didn't want to get hung, so that's why we've been choosing 2, and we don't have to. But I can tell you what I'm going to choose. I'm going to choose the scope that is my favorite rifle scope, that is on my rifle as a hog hunter mainly, and that is the Thermion 2 XP50. That is my personal choice. If you go to my gun safe and you pull out the custom American Defense manufacturing rifle that they made us, awesome custom rifle that they made one for both Hans and I. I mean, that's my baby. That's a favorite rifle. It's got my favorite scope. Thermion 2 XP50. That's it. I mean, I've already said what all I think about it. I don't think I need to say any more. I'm crowning that. Hans, what's it going to be?
Well, so I'm going to agree. 100% my favorite scope under $5,000. I think the best overall pick is going to be Absolutely. Pulsar Thermion 2 XP50. So it is on a rifle, not my favorite rifle, because everybody can see over my shoulder that my favorite rifle, the American Defense Manufacturing 6.5 Grendel that Jason also has the Super Yoder on it. So I can,
man.
but the Thermion 2 XP50 is on one of my favorite rifles, not my most favorite, but I can't say that it's on my favorite. But yeah, the Thermion 2 XP50 for sure. I think I tell people all the time, every day, that this scope has fantastic image. You know, it is up there with some scopes that are much more expensive, but it's got great features. It's user friendly, easy to use. Has works well and fits great on a bolt action rifle or an AR style rifle, which sometimes I like to shoot a bolt action rifle. Not a lot, but sometimes, and it works really well on there. But yes, congratulations to the Pulsar Thermion 2 XP50.
I'm going to do something here. All right. I think that, obviously this is our choice, especially for hog hunters. But if you had to pick a runner-up out of this group, one that, we did both choose. It's the first time we've done this year. And, guys, if y'all know us and we've beat this horse to death, we could choose any of these optics in these groups because that's why they're here. They're all good, all right? But what would you choose as your runner-up, do you think, if just general category? I'm not going to say just hog, coyote, No, I want to know because this is the first time we've chose the same. It's the first time we've chose the same one. What would you choose? You don't have to tell me why. Just what would it be?
I would say, oh, man, you put me on the spot, and this is. I would say, I'm gonna say the Super Yoder.
Yeah, I think I would too. Yeah. I would say Super Yoder or XG. I think either one of those are fantastic. I think it's especially, again, probably that'd be my coyote choice. So,
if the Super Yoder had rechargeable batteries, it would be a strong contender. Yep. But anyway, that's tough, man. That's tough.
So let's recap this real quick, and you want to go over all the categories, Hans, real quick here?
Yeah, I'll go over. So the best bang for the buck, you and I both chose the Super Yoder. Bearing off the Super Yoder, best for hog hunters. You and I both chose the Thermion 2 XP50.
Man.
Best for coyote hunters. I know we don't agree that often. Best for coyote hunters.
We do not.
I chose the Pulsar Trail 2 XQ50 LRF, and you chose the Pulsar Thermion XG50. And then both of us, for the overall pick and the crown champion of this category, both of us chose the Thermion 2 XP50. So those are our winners. The big winner, the one that's taking home the trophy, the Thermion 2 XP50, which they pretty much, Pulsar dominates this category year after year. Every year.
It's going to be tough to knock that, off of me because it is such a strong contender. That XP50 line is super popular, great scope. So congratulations to Pulsar once again on that. We hope that this was helpful. And, I don't expect most people to watch this show and be able to immediately say, oh my gosh, this is the exact right scope for me because they picked it for this category. Hans and I always say, and y'all get tired of hearing it, and we beat this into you, but we want you to understand you need to call us if you're getting ready to buy a scope and you want to make the purchase from us at Outdoor Legacy, but you want to make sure you get the right thing. And we want to understand what you're doing. We want you to tell us, hey, this is where I'm at. These are the weather conditions I'm hunting. This is the kind of rifle I'm going to put it on, bolt action or AR. This is the caliber. Caliber matters in here. Talked to a guy today about one of these scopes. He wanted to put it on a 300 Weatherby. Well, some of these scopes won't hold that recoil. So there's a lot to get into this. You can't just choose a scope without, again, your scenario, your shooting distances, everything matters, again, all the way down to the weather you're hunting in. So give us a call when, you're ready to make the purchase from us, but you just want the help. Again, it's 877 350-1818. We are glad to talk to you, answer any questions. It doesn't have to be just about one of these scopes in this $5,000 category. Maybe you're looking for a night vision scope. Maybe you're looking to spend $500-$600. We can help you with that, or anywhere else above it, below it. This is what we're here for. You can always go to outdoorlegacygear.com and check out the scopes there. We want people to also understand, if you go to the website, you go, man, this is the scope I want and it's out of stock. Don't just assume that it's out of stock and won't be back for weeks or months or years. Call us, check with one of the ladies in the office. If you know which one you want, you just see it's out of stock. We've got stuff coming and going all the time. And so something may be out of stock this afternoon and, in stock tonight. It's moving around all the time. So definitely go to outdoorlegacygear.com. You got the phone number. You can call us. If you want to see more of these review videos with hunting footage, through the scopes, go over to YouTube, which hopefully you're already there if you're watching the show, and go to HANSETX. That's Hans East Texas. That's his channel. And you'll see reviews with most all of these scopes. I'm looking at this list. I think everything on here. Yeah, you got a review of hunting in the field with it. I think it's everything on here. So go check those out, and you can get a lot more information. It's a different style of review than what we do here on the podcast. You can also find Hans some short video clips and all of his hog and coyote hunting pictures over at Instagram by searching Hans ETX. And, we've already told you where to find Outdoor Legacy. We're on the social media channels as well. But the Late Night Vision Show, if you're listening on, I just went blank. I was going to say Shopify, Spotify, or, Google Play, or any of those, podcast apps, we thank you very much. We know a lot of times y'all get overlooked. We're always talking about, clicking links and doing all these things, making the assumption you're on YouTube. But we know we have got a ton of loyal listeners over on the podcast app. So thank you. We appreciate that as well. If you're driving down the road and listening, thank you very much. You can find us there. You can always go to thelatenightVisionShow.com. Find all the past episodes, all the links, a little more info about the show and about us. But we are very thankful to have y'all back here every week.
Yep. And that's been it. Episode 189 of the Late Night Vision Show, best thermal scope under $5,000. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week, next Thursday. Stay tuned to every episode between now and the end of the year for the Best Of series. And then after the first of the year, January 2022 and on, it is heavy, hot and heavy with SHOT Show talk, new releases. There's going to be, I do believe, a bunch of releases coming out pretty soon. So stay tuned. A lot of people want to know what's going to be new, what are the scope companies dropping, and you will find out all of it very, very soon. So we appreciate it. Again, we'll see y'all soon. Stay tuned. See y'all next week, episode 190. Stay safe in the fields. Keep making them bacon pancakes.